Welcome to episode 21 of Friends and Film, a podcast where we talk about the latest movie news and theatrical releases. I'm your host, Cooper Hood at Coops_Hoops on Twitter, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Josh Straley at Straley Strong on Twitter. If you've not done so already and are new to the show, you can follow or subscribe to the podcast on Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, and Google Play, I believe, by simply searching Friends and Film. Josh?
Cooper, what's happening?
Nothing really, you know.
Episode 21.
Yeah, we are legally allowed to buy alcohol with our podcast.
Is there like an alcohol?
But there's no alcohol
store?
on this podcast.
No. We won't be discussing any or drinking any.
Never. There are podcasts out there where people drink and talk about stuff, but that is not us.
I'm sure that gets pretty exciting or interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been good, you know. The weather's been very nice in Indiana. Playing a lot of basketball outside, which has been very nice.
The nightmare that is spring for the Midwest is gone. And basketball, the NBA Finals are drawing nearer.
Yeah.
And we've got 4 teams left. Who are you going to take to be
overall?
in the game, in the finals?
I think it's going to be a rematch of last year.
Really?
Warriors, Cavs. We're recording this on a Sunday, so the Warriors and Thunder play tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Thunder can go up 2-1 at home, puts the pressure on the Warriors. But I think the Warriors are just too good, even though, I don't know, I think whatever team of those three win, I don't think the Raptors really have a shot of beating the Cavs.
Probably not.
Even though they just beat them last night, I don't think they actually have a shot of actually beating them in the series. And then if they got to the finals, I think they just get obliterated. So I'm rooting for the Cavs just because, I do like LeBron, even though he left my team. So I'd like to see him get more titles and bring one to Cleveland. So I'm rooting for you, LeBron. And if you win, then your debt is paid to Cleveland, and you can just mosey on back to Miami and win a couple more.
He can get that Carmelo, Dwayne Wade dream team going.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, we can or just keep Whiteside, hope Bosh gets healthy, and then our lineup would be Dragic, Wade, LeBron, Bosh, and Whiteside, and I don't think there's a better starting 5.
No, that would be the East outright right there.
Yeah. We'd chase the Warriors' new 73-win record.
Oh, definitely would put it up for debate. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's still a crazy number of wins.
Yeah, it is. But we're not a basketball podcast. We are a movie podcast, and this week we're going to be reviewing The Nice Guys, the latest film by Shane Black, which stars Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. But before we do so, me and Josh are going to talk about some of the biggest news stories that broke throughout the week. If you want to go straight to our review, there will be a pop-up on your screen. If you're watching on YouTube, that will be up from the beginning of this episode all the way up until the start of our review. So if at any point you're done with our news segment, just skip right to the review. Keep listening, don't leave. And if you're on SoundCloud or iTunes, I will try to remember to put the timestamp for when the review starts in the description, so it's easy for you guys to find. But normally, good indicators about halfway through the episode.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on how long we talk about the news and how long we keep our intros.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll get right to it and start with the flyby. And our first bit of mini news is Transformers 5 has been officially titled Transformers: The Last Night.
Yeah. What?
I think it's fine. I mean, I don't really care about the Transformers franchise anymore.
Me neither.
I think The Last Night probably just an indicator of that it's going to be more about Optimus Prime and that he's the last knight of whatever.
Yeah, I guess. A Optimus Prime solo movie, maybe? That's what this is?
I doubt it. Because, I mean, Mark Wahlberg's back, and they've already cast 2 other young actors. Right. So...
Transformers is the franchise that just keeps going.
Yep, keeps going, keeps letting you down. And speaking of a letdown, last year we got Spectre, which seems to be the last time Daniel Craig will ever play James Bond, after he has now turned down a reported 2-movie deal worth $99 million, according to the Daily Mail.
You've got to hate the role a lot to turn down that kind of cash.
Yeah, that's a lot of money to turn away from. I mean, we already know that Christoph Waltz was willing to come back as the villain. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of ready for a new Bond, so I'm not like heartbroken that Craig's not going to be back.
Right.
But that's a lot of money to turn down.
Yeah, I mean, once they jumped the shark with Skyfall, which was, I mean, it was the best Bond movie I've ever seen. So yeah, I think it's time to move on, especially in light of that news.
Yeah, and elsewhere on Twitter, writer and director Christopher McQuarrie was asked when he would write a Star Wars movie, and he responded with something that made me very happy if it were to happen. He said, quote, when they give me Michael B. Jordan and the Millennium Falcon, #young Lando.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to see Michael B. Jordan as Lando and a Christopher McQuarrie Star Wars movie?
Exactly. Like him writing. Like if you're Kathleen Kennedy, if you're Lucasfilm, you make it happen so you can get him to write you a movie and direct and whatever you need to have done.
Yeah, I mean, after Rogue One, we know we're getting the Han Solo, but after that, we don't know the third anthology movie. So it was going to be Josh Trank's Boba Fett. That is scrapped for all purposes that we know. So get McQuarrie in there. Get Michael B. Jordan. I mean,
totally.
Disney's now getting familiar with him with Black Panther. Make it happen, Disney. Come on. He's a huge rising name. As long as he can still make Creed 2 in the near future, we don't have to wait like 6 years for the sequel to Creed. Sure, yeah. Get Michael B. Jordan as Lando. It seems like a perfect fit.
And if not, at least a cameo in the young Han Solo movie.
Exactly. Elsewhere, we got our first set photos for Kingsman: The Golden Circle, and on set spotted was Channing Tatum. The photos from Coming Soon showed him in costume outside of the Kingsman clothing store, secret headquarters. But he looked good.
Yeah, it was really cool. But I mean, seeing him there, unless he's like evil and about to attack the place, it looks like Channing Tatum's gonna be a good guy, which means I don't have to root against one of my favorite actors right now. So that's great.
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about when he was, first attached to this project, how it just makes a lot of sense for that to happen. And I mean, I think him and Edgerton together, I think is going to be so much fun. And I'm looking forward to see what Matthew Vaughn will do with the talents of Tatum.
Absolutely.
And then in another franchise that just keeps on going, similar to the Transformers we talked about before, we got our first photo of Charlize Theron in Furious 8. That's what we are believed it is called.
Yeah.
Depends on who you ask. But her character's name is Cypher, and she's spotted wearing a Metallica shirt and a leather jacket in a clothing store, I think. I mean,
standing next to a rack of machine guns or, assault rifles.
Yeah, so.
Hey.
I mean, Charlize, sure. I love Charlize.
Absolutely.
Doesn't make me any more excited about Furious 8.
Yeah, no, I mean, the hype is beginning for it for the diehard fans.
Yeah, I guess. If there are such things, I'm sure there are.
There are, trust me.
And that's the end of the flyby. We're not going to talk about the main stories, and we're going to start off as we normally do when there's trailers to talk about. We talk about them at the start. And we got our third trailer for the BFG, Steven Spielberg's next adventure. Very CGI heavy. And no matter how much they show of this, I'm not interested.
No, I'm not. I was excited when Steven Spielberg was started to direct this, because I was like, oh, maybe this will be, a really unique, cool take on like a story. And it looks like there's just lots of CGI, and that's how they got the budget for it.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of CGI doesn't look that great. Like it could look a lot better. I mean, I think it doesn't come out till July or something, so they have plenty of time to make it look a lot better. Hopefully they do. But I mean, it's the third trailer, and at no point I'm like, man, I can't wait for the BFG to come out.
Yeah, exactly.
It has a decent cast, but I don't care.
Yeah, it's not a movie for me. But I will at least see the movie before I pass a more harsher judgment.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think we're scheduled to review it. I think it has stiff competition that week, so maybe we don't review it.
Yeah, but we do have. Yeah,
who knows?
We'll find out.
you'll find out whenever it comes out.
Exactly.
You tune in, and then we're either going to review it or we're not. Speaking of another summer movie, got another trailer. Ghostbusters, after it's very controversial and the most disliked trailer in the history of YouTube.
Yeah.
The second trailer came out. People don't love it. I don't love it, but it looks better.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. I don't love it, but it looks better. And yeah,
But I think they gave a little too much away, I think. Because now we know Chris Hemsworth gets possessed
right
by a ghost, and now he's basically the villain.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why show that in the trailer?
I mean, unless it's like, unless it's out of context, that's not what it is. But
I mean, we see him get possessed by a ghost. He shakes it off.
Drives
Evil
off.
grin.
Yeah.
Does a wheelie, and then he's standing in front of this machine that looks like it's gonna like destroy the world, with a goofy grin, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, all the ghosts, like, I don't know, people just are used to ghosts now. They're taking pictures with them at concerts, and
Yeah,
they're huge and walking around, and like people don't really seem that scared about it. I don't know.
There's it's a comedy movie, and comedy movies often, without depending on what they're set around, sometimes have a tough time getting their trailers right.
Yeah.
Because I've gone to movies before, but it didn't seem like they were going to be that funny, and it turned out to be great.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to judge Ghostbusters too harshly, because I want to go see it because of the talent that's in it, and I want it to be good.
Yeah.
But the trailers aren't making it easy at all. So, but like BFG, I'm gonna go see it before I say anything harsh about it.
Exactly.
And I encourage everybody to do that too.
Yeah. I mean, trailers are often a good indicator of whether you're gonna like a movie or not, or they can be, but don't automatically hate the movie just because you don't like the trailer. It'll be hard to, wash away the thought of like, oh, those trailers were terrible when you go see the movie.
Right.
But try to watch it with an open mind. If it sucks like the trailers, it sucks.
Exactly.
Then if it's great, you're pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I'm going to feel.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting to like it.
Sure.
Who knows? Paul Feig and that really good cast could change my mind.
Absolutely.
We also got a trailer for Star Trek Beyond recently. Yeah. Another one that the first trailer people were like, what?
Exactly.
This is not Star Trek. This is like Star Trek trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But this one was actually really good. Like it was back to like that sci-fi. It looked more serious. It looked had still some fun moments. Idris Elba is actually like a factor in the trailer. They're not listening to 80s music. He's not riding a dirt bike half the trailer.
Right.
Like, all things that make this trailer a little bit better.
I directed by Justin Lin, who came off doing Fast and Furious 7. So maybe he tried to infuse a little bit more fun into the first trailer, but this got back to what you come to expect from Star Trek, and there was emotional weight to it, other than just it looks like a big party with explosions. So it actually told you something about the story. So I finally have an interest in seeing it. I mean, I did before, but now it's like, I wonder what's going to happen to Captain Kirk and Spock and Bones this time around.
Yeah, exactly. Like after the first trailer, like before the trailer, I was like, I'm excited for I'm ready for another Star Trek movie because I like the first two. But then after that trailer, I was like, oh gosh, if like they're stuck on this like section of other planet for half the movie and he's riding around on a dirt bike, jumping over things, I'm like, I'm out.
Competing in the intergalactic X Games or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. Like that's not the Star Trek I want to see. But then this one definitely looks a lot more like the Star Trek I want to see. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it now. Whereas if you would have asked me a couple days ago, are you looking forward to Star Trek Beyond? I'm like, kind of.
I'm gonna see it.
Only because I have the history with the previous two that I liked. But
totally.
This trailer didn't do anything for me. And then I saw this trailer and it was actually looks good. So
perfect.
That's great.
I'm anxious to see the fallout from the second one too. That's another big thing too. So the whole story arc with Captain Kirk is really unique, and I'm excited to see how they continue it.
Yeah. speaking of continued storylines, later this year, Suicide Squad is going to hit theaters, and part of the Suicide Squad is the beloved character known as Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie. And the Hollywood Reporter revealed this week that Warner Brothers is currently working on a Harley Quinn led film, not a solo film, but it's a film that she will lead that will feature other female heroes and villains from the DC universe. And the interesting thing about this story is not that it's not a Harley Quinn solo movie, because I don't know how that works necessarily, but that Margot Robbie was the one to pitch this idea to Warner Bros. And they hadn't even thought about this before.
Yeah, seriously.
And so she walks into them and says, "Hey, I have a script and a writer. We should do not a Margot Robbie movie, a Harley Quinn movie." And they liked the pitch, and she's going to be a producer on the film. So I love that she's really invested in this character and wants to do it more. That's a good sign. But why is DC not already thinking of this?
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer move. I mean, just from the trailers that they've released from Suicide Squad, it's obvious that she is going to be the star of that movie.
Yeah.
If not Jared Leto's Joker, who has an equal good chance of, taking away, stealing scenes.
Yeah. So, I mean, Margot Robbie is one of the rising female talents in Hollywood. I mean,
25 years old.
Yeah, 25 or 26, which is just insane.
Her and Taylor Swift
to think about.
Own us by their 30s.
Oh gosh, not Taylor Swift. Let Margot take all the power. But yeah, I mean, I think this is just it. I think this is going to be a good move for DC to have a Harley Quinn movie. I mean, there's all the comparisons between DC and Marvel, and DC is going to beat them to the gate with a female-led film with Wonder Woman coming out next year, and then get a Harley Quinn-led film with a bunch of other female characters.
Yeah.
No matter what Captain Marvel is for Marvel, that's not going to be like a movie that features four prominent female heroes and a female villain or something, which is what this kind of looks to be shaping up to be. Some people are thinking it'll be similar to like it'll have a bunch of other female characters like Poison Ivy or Black Canary, kind of like the Birds of Prey from the comics and stuff. So I think that's a really interesting idea, and I mean, I think that would work out really well for them as long as people are actually excited to see more of this character after Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and I mean, I would think that the brain trust over at Warner Brothers and DC would at least have seen Suicide Squad by now, and her acting in it would have been like, well, this is a great idea, go for it. So yeah,
I know like some fan reactions have come out from like the first screenings were shown or something, and people were like, oh my gosh, it's so good, it's amazing. But I mean, fan reactions to all that stuff is always positive whenever it gets out.
Yeah.
BVS had positive early reactions, Civil War really positive reactions, X-Men Apocalypse did. Like, you just go back and back and back, and they all get, oh my gosh, it's the best super movie of all time. So I'm not saying it's not going to be that. I'm not saying it's going to be terrible. I'm waiting to see how it actually plays out, because I mean, as much as I think I am going to love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, it could very well be that in the movie I'm not interested in her character.
Sure.
And then I'm like, I don't want to see a Harley Quinn movie. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I could feel that way, or a majority of the audience could feel that way. So they haven't officially greenlighted and be like, hey, this movie's coming out next year. Here's the release date. It starts filming tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're developing it, which again, it seems like a no-brainer.
Probably, I bet you they're willing to wait. Or they're going to wait until August, until Suicide Squad hits all the major, reviews and outlets, and then they'll, make their final decision. But if everything goes according to plan, Harley Quinn and Friends coming your way soon. Yeah,
so that's exciting. Once again, as long as it's actually people are interested in this character.
Totally.
But, as I said, it was kind of surprising that, Warner Bros. Had already been thinking about this, and in the fallout of the quote unquote failure that is Batman v Superman,
Mm-hmm.
because it made $900 million worldwide or
Yeah.
something like that. So it's not a financial failure, but critically it's a failure. And I think Warner Brothers had higher hopes for it to be at least $1 billion movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would have told you, oh yeah, that movie's going to make $1 billion no matter how bad it is, just because it's the characters involved. It's not the case, and as a result, the Hollywood Reporter has revealed that John Berg and Jeff Johns, I think it's Jeff, even though
Jeff
it's
with a G.
Jeff spelled Geoff.
Yeah.
Jeff Johns will now co-run the newly founded DC Films, and Berg is currently an executive vice president, or I think vice producer, I think, at Warner Brothers. And Johns is DC's chief content officer. He's the one responsible for like bringing like Arrow and Supergirl and The Flash and Legend of Tomorrow and stuff to the CW and bringing those up. So they're now co-running DC Films as a way of them trying to get their Kevin Feige, as Marvel Studios has. The interesting thing is they both still report to their separate companies. So Berg still reports to Warner Brothers and Johns reports to DC. So that's kind of weird, but I mean, at least they are two guys that understand the property and what they're trying to do, and they can be the ones to say, okay, this is the plan. We're going to greenlight this Harley Quinn movie. Okay, Batman is hot right now, so we're going to get his solo movie up in the schedule. Flash, you're struggling, so we're going to push you back, bring the Batman in 2018 or something.
Yeah.
These are the guys that are going to be making these decisions. I think it seems like a good move now. When we will see the actual effects of this, I have no idea.
Yeah, they're taking a step towards having a overall vision for their entire, their entire content lineup, and that's a positive thing to see. And going forward, I think it means better cohesion throughout everything that they have. Unless they're just awful at their jobs, I don't see how things go down from here. So
yeah.
That's a positive thing to see happen.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the important thing for them is not to be reactionary to the success. Like, they've laid out this plan. It's important for them to somewhat stick to it.
Exactly.
I understand the Flash is kind of struggling because they lost the director. The director, James Wan, might be struggling with figuring out how to actually portray Aquaman and have it actually, how am I going to film this movie underwater and make it look like that? So, I mean, they just need to kind of stick with their plan, but also they're going to want, if Suicide Squad comes out and it makes $1 billion, Suicide Squad 2 is going to be filming in the next 2 or 3 months after that, because they're going to want to get that movie out as quick as possible before people forget that movie actually came out, and while they still have interest in those characters. But I think it is a good start for DC Films to kind of get their universe going. And speaking of the connected cinematic universes are all the rage nowadays in Hollywood, and Fox is doing one kind of with X-Men. They're trying. They have a long line of films. Whether they actually are a connected universe is debatable.
They get a participation trophy at least.
Yeah, and next week X-Men Apocalypse comes out, and it's the latest installment in their universe, and we don't know how this movie ends currently, but Jennifer Lawrence has been asked what about her future is, and she's kind of been previously like, oh yeah, I'm dying to come back, I can't wait to do more X-Men movies. Sometimes she's like, I don't know. And now it kind of looks like she's back to that old route where she told EW, quote, Fox should be terrified because the deal we made, and we means me and McAvoy and Fassbender, was like, if one of us doesn't come back, none of us are. I would love to come back. I love the fans. I love the characters. But then you realize how important your year is. Like how important 3 months out of the year is. I don't know. I shouldn't be that honest.
Yeah.
So it sounds like she's kind of wants to come back, but I don't think that deal between her and McAvoy and Fassbender is actually going to hold, because I think McAvoy's already re-upped his contract. I think Fassbender probably already has 2. And depending on how this movie ends, I think you could either push Mystique to the side and let people kind of forget about her for a while, or you have to bring her back because I think this movie she has such a prominent role.
Sure. It looks like she's the lead, I think, throughout, at least the second to all the way up to the final acts.
Yeah.
So, and I love Jennifer Lawrence in the X-Men movies that she's in. I think she does a phenomenal job. To see her come back would be great, but it sounds like there's other projects that she has her eye on.
Yeah, well, I think at this point in her career, she finished the Hunger Games franchise last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if she wants to get out of franchises for a while and be able to do, more things like American Hustle or Joy, or just more independent films where she can actually get Oscar buzz and get awards. And then after that point where, she's not the biggest, arguably she's the biggest female actress in Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
So when that is not the case, then she can go back and do another franchise to get her name back up.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's where I think she's coming from. I think that's where she's like, oh, it's important where those, it takes 3 months out of my year to film these movies, and I could be doing 2 other smaller movies in that same time. So I think that's kind of important to her right now. So I don't know. I think she will be back at some point, just because I think that's how it'll have to be for Apocalypse to make sense moving forward. But I don't think she actually wants to be there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And again, who knows? Apocalypse could end with her dying, and then she's free.
Yeah, sure. Or maybe an Age of... Yeah, exactly.
But then it retcons more
exactly.
stuff, even though it's already retconned, I think, in my opinion. We're going to do we think we're going to do a preview special for Apocalypse that'll come out later this week, where we'll talk about what stuff actually is
exactly
in this universe, because there's a lot of things that contradict themselves.
We'll piece together the breadcrumbs that Bryan Singer's left for us to...
Yeah, we'll do it the best we can. But the studio that started this all is Marvel Studios, and their cinematic universe arguably has no loose ends where it's like, well, that doesn't make sense because this happened here and that can't happen because this happened. It's no, they actually know what happened before. Yeah. So they're actually making things make sense with what comes next. And next year they just got Spidey back. He debuted in Civil War a couple weeks ago, and next year his solo movie comes out. And we got some new details about what that could hold. And no, I'm not talking about the 4chan Reddit complete plot synopsis that was online.
One of those dropped?
Yeah, it was actually pretty good.
Really?
If it was real, I'd be okay with it. But based on what we got that we'll talk about now, I don't think that actually is the case. But if it was, I think it would make for a good movie. But I don't consider these details spoilery. Some people could. So warning that we're going to talk about the villains in the movie, as well as maybe a suit upgrade that he's going to have. So just be warned. We're also going to talk about a potential, well, it looks like finished casting addition to the movie as well. So we're going to talk about Spider-Man Homecoming, and Joe Blow revealed that they reiterated the previous report that Vulture is going to be in the movie, but he's going to be actually the main villain, and that the side villain's going to be somebody called the Tinkerer, who is an inventor and will use old Chitauri tech that he got from the attack on New York in the Avengers to help build Vulture his suit. And Vulture can fly and everything, so how's Spidey gonna do that besides just swinging around on his webs? Well, it appears that Tony Stark is going to give him his web wings that he used to don in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, really
early comics. And he's going to be able to kind of fly, glide. He can't straight up fly,
right?
But it allows him to just kind of glide a little bit better.
Sure. Think Batman.
Yeah.
Only not as, I don't know. Yeah.
They're not as big. I mean, it
Right.
depends on the design. Some of them are like
a flying squirrel.
very small. Some of them are full out wings kind of. But I think that I'm on board with the Vulture as the villain at this point. I've accepted it.
Totally.
Move forward. Tinkerer, I have no idea who that is.
Nope.
But the idea that they're going to use Chitauri tech to build the suit, I think is really interesting because I'm not sure how that works.
It's the first time that they'll actually, talk about some fallout from the Battle of New York that's not, Civil War related.
Yeah, that's not the Sokovia Accords. Yes. Yeah. So that's interesting. And then, I mean, was I dying to see Spidey get his web wings? No.
Mm-mm.
But do I know what? I understand completely why they did it. Just because they can sell more, they can sell new toys.
Yeah, totally.
Get Spidey with his web wings. What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Mom, I gotta go buy this toy. So
I think it can make for some great shots too. I mean, like think Assassin's Creed and like him diving off and then
Well, I was thinking like
popping the wings open.
I think it was the first trailer for the Amazing Spider-Man, where it shows Spider-Man just falling. And it's just him falling toward the ground, and it's a shot above his back, looking down.
Yeah.
And like I kind of picture that, and then all of a sudden he just puts out his arms, and then the wings, and then he kind of glides himself a little bit to safety. Something like that, I think, would be really cool.
And then it's a way to weave in, the Tony Stark relationship, as he's like, oh, you need help fighting a bird? Well, here, I'll give you wings too.
Yeah.
So, bam.
Yeah. So
I think it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board with Tony being in the movie. They have great chemistry in Civil War, and it appears we know who will actually be playing Vulture, depending on who you believe. But we know we talked before. We're like, Michael Keaton's gonna be in this movie, and then we're like the next week, he's actually not. And now I think it's 2 weeks after that. He looks like he is actually gonna be in the movie after all. Variety has reported that he's in final talks to close the deal. Deadline followed up and said his deal's closed, and then the director John Watts, like a couple hours after this news broke, he posted a GIF on Twitter of Michael Keaton doing a fist pump when he was going to accept his Oscar. So it seems like that seems like confirmation. The obvious choice is that he's going to be Vulture. But there are some reasons to believe he could actually be Norman Osborn, because Variety reporter Justin Kroll, who's the one that broke this story, was on Twitter, and he was talking to other people, and he said that Keaton will be testing with younger actors. So is he looking to be like, is the Tinkerer going to be a really young kid, like a up and coming tech whiz, or is he actually testing to find Harry Osborn? And then the other interesting tidbit that makes me think it could actually be Norman is he said that after Keaton initially passed on the role, they talked to a former True Detective star about the same role, and the most well-known True Detective star is McConaughey.
Right.
And McConaughey does not seem like the Vulture at all, but he makes the perfect Osborn. So
completely.
I would rather see Keaton as Vulture than Osborn. And I hope Marvel at one point can actually get McConaughey to be in their movies.
Yeah, for real. Matthew McConaughey has been just on fire, starting from Dallas Buyers Club. I mean, you can argue Aloha was a little bit of a off movie for. No, that was Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, I was like,
whatever.
That,
but ever since Interstellar, I've been in love with Matthew McConaughey, and throwing him into the Marvel universe, who was probably on my 4 actors that I wish would have gotten into the franchise.
Yep.
But I can mark off 2 soon. So, but yeah, he could do it, and if he is possible, make it happen. Keaton getting in, yes. So happy for that, especially now that it's almost basically a done deal.
Yeah, I mean it's not nothing against Keaton. I mean, I love Keaton as an actor, and it's never bad to add talent to a film. So I think you could do a lot worse. You can do a lot worse than Keaton. I think Keaton's probably your best bet to get somebody to play the Vulture, and it's probably, unfortunately, a place where I hope not, but it's probably gonna be the case where he's a one-time villain. But Spider-Man's not going to kill Vulture.
Yeah, please don't kill him. Just put him in prison.
Hopefully, what happens at the end of Homecoming is he subdues Vulture, throws him in a cell, and then in 5 or 6 years for Spider-Man 3, whatever the subtitle is, we get Sinister Six style, and Vulture's part of that, along with like Venom, Doc Ock, Goblin.
Don't even get me started.
Oh
Venom.
man,
I want a Venom movie.
Yeah,
I want a Carnage movie. I really want Carnage.
Yeah,
when we're thinking about, but that's a whole nother
story
for another day.
That's not an origin story. This isn't gonna be an origin story, but this isn't. Carnage is not a first outing
exactly
experience. You got to build up to Carnage.
I really hope they do it though.
I think they will, as long as you have to assume this. This Spider-Man franchise continues for a long time. So I think at some point you have to do Carnage, because how can you not?
Yeah.
Knew Venom before. He defeats Venom. Next movie he fights Carnage, and he can't beat him, and then Venom becomes a hero.
Total team up.
And you get Agent Venom, and then for Guardians 5, put Venom with the Guardians, and everybody's happy.
Oh man, the Marvel universe would be so fun.
So many possibilities.
Exactly.
And speaking of possibilities, our final news segment or news topic, Thor Ragnarok got its cast officially announced. And there's been a lot of talk recently about, Doctor Strange's cast, rightfully so, because it's great. Same for Black Panther. It's a small cast currently because they're just starting to announce casting and stuff. But that looks to be full of all-stars. And now Thor Ragnarok could arguably be the best of them all, because returning is Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, Anthony Hopkins, and Idris Elba. Credible right there. We know Natalie Portman's not coming back. Doesn't matter. She's a good actress, but I can do a Thor movie without Jane Foster at this point.
What they've added here just completely outshines the loss of Natalie Portman.
Yeah, and they also announced a bunch of other new additions. They did not announce the return of Lady Sif in the Warriors 3, but Jamie Alexander seemed to hint on Twitter that they'll actually be in it.
Yeah.
It's a matter of scheduling or something. But Marvel finally and officially confirmed that Mark Ruffalo will appear as the Hulk, like we've been hearing for, it seems like, forever. They also confirmed Cate Blanchett is going to be the villain, known as Hela. And Tessa Thompson's been confirmed as Valkyrie. So that's great. And then, if that was not enough for you, there were 2 surprises. One that Josh is barely containing his excitement about, so now I'm going to hold it for the last one I say.
That's fine. Go ahead. Just get this guy's
Carl Urban has been cast as Scourge, a.k.a. the Executioner. He's normally tied with the Enchantress, but seems like he'll probably help Hela out this time around. And the other one that is really exciting, Jeff Goldblum's been cast as the Grand Master.
Oh, yes. We were just talking about this, 3 weeks ago?
Something like that.
That Jeff Goldblum was thinking about the Marvel Universe. Well, he was definitely more than thinking about it. Dude, he was signing a contract right then. Oh, and I love Jurassic Park and him playing Ian Malcolm. From there on, everything he's in, he just does an awesome job. And seeing him in Grand Budapest Hotel, I can't wait for not Aliens. Independence Day Resurgence. And now he's going to be in one of my favorite franchises, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as a pretty charismatic, eccentric character, the Grandmaster.
So, all of this is super exciting. And I think we've heard for a long time this movie's going to be this galaxy-wide road trip. And I think this just, the people they're adding is so exciting, just because, Hela, she comes from Hell.
Yeah.
And she's like the leader there, and it looks like she's going to invade Asgard. They also released the first bit of concept art, and it's her standing at the gates of Asgard with the entire Asgardian army just surrounding her, and she's got the whole big headwear and everything, just like the comics. Looks great. Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie is such a good choice, and for all those people who want more diversity in movies, and especially the MCU, they made Valkyrie a traditionally white character, African American. So pleases you there. And then the two new additions. I mean, Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster. Great choice, first off, just because Jeff Goldblum in anything is usually a pretty good thing. And the Grandmaster is like this all-powerful being that in one like the mid-six, like the number, like I think it's like 68 or something, like of Avengers, like the very first Avengers run, he appears and he takes Iron Man, Cap, Hulk, and Thor, I think, to an alternate planet in an alternate galaxy and fights them and pits them against a completely other group of super powered people from another galaxy. So he just loves to mess with chance and fate and everything, and I think he's going to be the one that he's the one that finds Hulk when he flies away, gets him, and is the one that's been like, okay, Hulk, let's see who can take you down.
Sure. Or
how many people you can take down. And he starts bringing people, and then when Thor reportedly gets banished from Asgard, that's when he's like, Thor, got a challenge, fight this guy, and then like, oh, what's up, Bruce?
Yeah. And
then they throw down. And then Carl Urban as the Executioner is awesome because Executioner's wields this huge double-sided axe. So to see Carl Urban swinging that thing is going to be awesome. I'm also hoping that this means that the Enchantress is in there in some way. I'm not sure how because this cast is already so stacked.
Yeah, seriously.
But I just want Alice Eve cast as the Enchantress. She already has the connection with Urban, with Star Trek. So
totally.
They have the chemistry already. They know each other. Seems like a great fit. I just think I can't wait to learn more about like the actual like synopsis.
Totally.
And I mean, this movie does come out for a year and 4 months.
Yeah.
From right now.
Fall 2018.
Which sucks. Yeah, no, November 2017.
That's right.
So I just need this movie now.
Totally. The casting just they know how to get your excitement levels to peak, and it's not even a year away.
No, I mean if you just look at that cast, there's Oscar contenders in basically every single role. I mean, Hemsworth hasn't been close to an Oscar yet. Hiddleston will probably get one at some point because that guy is just incredible.
He's getting awards. I know he's going to get some Emmys.
Hopkins has won awards in his past. Idris Elba, I don't think has yet, but I mean he will.
He got snubbed on No Nation, but
he's great. Mark Ruffalo is always in it seems like recently always is in Oscar contending movies.
Yeah, Spotlight.
I mean, Cate Blanchett is huge, and then Tessa Thompson coming off of Creed. I mean, incredible. So, I mean, yeah, I was talking to my friend Colton this past week about how just stacked 2017 is. I mean, when we do our preview 2017 list, our top movies Star Wars 8, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok. I'm missing a ton of other ones, but there's just so many. Justice League comes out that year. I mean, there's just so much stuff coming out next year. It's kind of hard to fathom. But yeah, like you said, Marvel knows how to cast great, getting great additions, big names. And they got Kurt Russell and
Sylvester Stallone
into Guardians 2. Plus, who else knows? I mean, Nathan Fillion's in there as a cameo, posters and something. I mean, it's just great. I mean, I can't wait to see the rest. I mean, and they just got Michael Keaton in Spider-Man. It's insane.
This is the coolest thing. Just as a statement of the overall whole of the MCU, in light of all these casting, additions, it's gonna be whenever they eventually stop, if they don't stop, you're gonna be able to take a section of 10, 15 years of movies, and you're going to have all of your favorite actors from your entire lifespan, in those movies, and that's I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
to see them all play
incredible.
with each other. So,
and hopefully, like, really hope Jeff Goldblum's going to be in Infinity War now as the Grand Master and be someone who can kind of mess around with Thanos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Tessa Thompson will be there. Maybe they can get Executioner to help them out. I mean, there's just so many possibilities. And it's like everybody's focusing on this, like, on how great the new cast is. But when you like look at the resume, like the returning cast is just as good.
Exactly.
So I can't wait for this movie. Go talk about how excited I am for the Marvel slate forever. That's our news segment, and we are going to now review The Nice Guys, as previously stated. Came out this week. A wide release, made like $12 million in its opening weekend, which is, I mean, it's respectable for a smaller movie that this is. This is not a movie that, you know, everybody's like rushing out to go see. Can't remember who started last.
I think I kicked us off last week.
Okay, so I'll start with The Nice Guys. Loved it. It's a fantastic movie. Really enjoyable. Gosling and Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe as the two leads have such good chemistry throughout. They play off each other so well. Not only with like the serious moments, but also there's action and comedy. And I think Gosling in particular is like the standout more than Russell Crowe. For me, I liked Gosling's character a lot. He's like a bumbling idiot. He's drinking constantly.
Yeah, it totally surprised me.
It's just really funny. And then his daughter, played by Anne-Marie Rice, she was really good. Never heard of her before, but she actually has like a pretty big role in the movie. Really enjoyed her. And then, but I mean, this is directed by Shane Black, and it has kind of his fingerprints all over it because he just knows how to do these like buddy cop movies. I mean, he wrote the Lethal Weapon films. He did Iron Man 3, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I haven't seen that yet, unfortunately. And then this one, like, he just knows how to have a pair of dudes make jokes at each other and be in these like bizarre scenarios that like nobody will ever find themselves in, but it's really funny and they get out of it somehow. And usually they're not like actually like qualified like to be in these situations. And I love that it was set in 1977.
Yep.
Right. So that was just great just to see LA in that time. It's like the Jaws 2 poster. Tim Allen's name is all over the place for a comedy club. And overall, I will give it 4.5 ticket stubs out of 5.
Yeah. I mean, before I say how I feel about it, I mean, right there with you at the same level.
Okay.
4.5. I cannot stress how much I fell in love with Ryan Gosling as an actor in this movie because I knew him from The Notebook and he was in that movie Drive.
Yeah.
And other than that, he was like, oh, he's just a romantic comedy actress or whatever the case is. The dude is charismatic as anybody, like Robert Downey Jr. level charisma in this movie. And then with Russell Crowe, who I hadn't seen like a really great movie from him, or at least in my opinion, until now. Granted, I've only seen 3 movies with him in it. So he blew me away with his comedic timing, and I think that's the best way to describe it. It doesn't take itself seriously at any point. There are moments where it slows itself down, and you're like, "Yo, I really feel bad for this Ryan Gosling's character. He lost his wife, his home, all because he didn't have a sense of smell," which I thought was like a hilarious tidbit when they first bring that up. Matt Bomer was really good too in the role of like a psychopathic killer. I'd never seen him like that before, so that was really great. But I mean, you said it, like the 70s, the movie just felt like groovy the entire time you're in the theater. As soon as the opening logos start to pop up on the screen, you're like, oh, I'm gonna have fun and this is gonna be great. Yep. And for the next 2 hours, you're transported back to the 1977, and it's a total blast.
Yeah, it's like you said, just a really enjoyable movie. There's not a lot to talk about in terms of like spoilers, really. The one thing I will say, The trailers and promos kind of gave a little too much away for me. And kind of like when I was watching the movie, I was like, you'd see a clip and then you'd like, I was like, oh yeah, I was in the trailer, and then seeing it come after, I was like, oh, that hasn't happened yet. So I was like, oh, so I know where that's going, kind of. And the biggest one was when they're in Gosling's house and he has his flyer on his fridge with his face on it.
Yeah.
And I think it's the end of the second trailer or something. It's him and Crow at the bar at the very end of the movie, and he pulls out the new flyer with the nice guys, and it's him and Crow, both of them on the poster together, and they're doing the bit where it's like, oh, I made your head small because you're really self-conscious about things. He's like, oh yeah, I am. Thank you. It makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so like, obviously, like, you think they're gonna solve the crime that they're chasing down this whole time, no matter what, just because it's a movie and the good guys normally win.
Right.
But I was like, okay, so they become a cohesive unit at the end of the movie. So, and then there was the bit where he threw the gun to Crow and it went out the window.
Yeah.
And I remember that from the trailer, and I was like, oh, that hasn't happened yet. When's that gonna happen?
Sure.
Oh, like they're gonna end up back at his house somehow, and then they did and stuff. So that was just like one like minor
Yeah, sure.
complaint that I had. And then like everybody they try to help just dies.
Oh yeah.
I was like, come on, let's at least like let them be kind of heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, they solved the crime, like that. Basically, the government is like allowing.
Government officials are in collusion with Detroit.
Yeah, for like air pollution. That's killing birds. And somehow the head of the department that they're like investigating, her daughter is the one, like, she makes this like porno after she like protests like birds are dying, and like she dies like really like conveniently for Bomer. I think even like says a line. She runs up to him. He's like, I need to get out of here. He's like, well, that was easy or something.
Yeah, how about that?
And he just
yeah. Well, yeah.
kills her off right there.
Gosling and Crow, they're attempting to save a missing person, the daughter who's trying to get this message out about the collusion in the government about the pollution or whatever.
And somehow, for some reason, they chose to make it a porno.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, it was an experimental film, Cooper, which is like the joke throughout the movie that it's not a porno. It's it's an ideological thriller or whatever. But yeah, this 10-minute shootout, 15-minute shootout with it completely destroys Gosling's home happens, and then as Bomer's retreating from the police showing up, the daughter runs out onto the road, and he's just like, oh wow, hey, yeah, and then pops her, and then they move on. So I thought that was actually kind of funny though.
It was. I was
not
like,
that someone's death is funny, but
as
it
happened, I was like, oh, like they're gonna kill her. I was like, come on,
right?
Like, of course.
I think that's what I mean though by it not taking itself so seriously.
Yeah.
It's like moments like that where you're like, oh, there's no epic rescue. It's just they've got to stumble their way to the finish line somehow.
Yeah,
and that's what Ryan Gosling really does.
Yeah, I think that like that moment kind of like really stood out to me. If it not taking itself seriously at like the very last shootout where Gosling's like, I'm pretty sure I can't die.
Yeah.
And then like he's like doing all this ridiculous stuff, and he's like carrying the film reel of the last remaining copy of the experimental film that shows that how corrupt the government is and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like running and getting shot at, and then somehow he gets shot at, the bullet goes right into the film reel and it just stops it dead in his track.
Right.
And he goes like flying through a window. And it's like
through a glass ceiling and then onto a car. And then he gets up totally, with no cuts or bruises or anything like that. Then he just gets up, starts running.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was just like super enjoyable, like just stuff like that. Like, sure, it wasn't serious, but it didn't. That's not what Shane Black is as a director, as a writer. This is, since I haven't seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is like his, like, it's widely acclaimed that that's his best directed movie, and probably best written movie as well. The Nice Guys is my favorite Shane Black movie. Is it yours? Because I know you love Iron Man 3.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 still.
Okay.
I mean, obviously it's set in my favorite franchise. I still love it.
Your favorite franchise?
One of my favorite franchises. All right. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. You knew what I mean.
I just want to make sure.
This is definitely number 2. Lethal Weapon is great. But man, I just I laughed my entire way through this. The humor was smart. At other times it was just flat out funny. But I really, really loved it.
Yeah, it was a really enjoyable film. It's my third favorite film of the year. And yeah, if Jungle Book was a little worse or this was a little bit better, it might have had a shot for 2. But still, I mean, this is a film that I think is going to be high on a lot of people's lists at the end of the year. I mean, it's hard to say that now just because, with Oscar season yet to even come close to starting, there's a bunch of films that I probably have no idea that they are going to exist. And then I'm going to see them like, oh my gosh, that was like insanely good. But yeah, hopefully this is the one that like people like remember like at the end of the year and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Grand Budapest Hotel of this year's Oscars, just because costumes and design and all those awards that everyone says they don't care about. I mean, I think it'll be a pretty good contender for that.
Yeah, I think that's probably good. That's probably a good call. I don't think Gosling or Crowe's going to get an Oscar nominee, or Shane Black's going to get a nominee for, directing or anything. But I mean, it's a very fun movie. It's very enjoyable. It's definitely not for everybody because it is revolved around, a experimental film that is a porno.
Yep, it's
like the very first like sequence is like a porn star getting killed, flying like going off the side of the road through a house, and then laying there, and somehow she either crawled out of the wreckage or was flung out of the car in the midst of the wreckage, laying perfectly on the rock.
Yeah,
with like just completely exposed to a 12-year-old kid.
I don't know how that all works out. But the kid, Ty Simpkins, he's popping up in everything.
Yeah, I mean, he was in Black's last movie. He was in Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3, Jurassic World, and then he's in those horror films. Is
he in Insidious?
Insidious.
Is he?
The second one.
Oh. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, so I mean, that's good for him, I guess.
Stars are rising.
What curious, just because I mean I feel like that's all we have to say really about Nice Guys. At least that's all for me. You said you've seen 3 Crow movies, and I'm just curious which ones they are. I mean, this one, Man of Steel. What's the third?
Noah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was what it was.
Not a good movie.
No.
So yeah, you need to check out Gladiator.
Yeah, I know people talk about it, and that's his staple.
That's his movie.
All right, Gladiator.
And 310 to Yuma, he's really good in.
Okay.
It's him and Christian Bale, and it's not. Is it Dylan O'Brien? No, I think it's Logan Lerman.
Okay.
He's really good in it. So yeah, I definitely recommend those just to get some other very good Russell Crowe movies under your belt. He's the villain in 310 to Yuma. He's like he's a bad cowboy outlaw.
Jesse James type character.
Kind of, yeah. And then Gladiator, he's the Gladiator. So pretty self-explanatory there. So yeah, this is definitely we had the poll on Twitter vote. We got 100% response for this one, even though there's only 2 votes.
Yeah.
So for those 2 people that voted, this was for you.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah. We also so that's basically it for this episode. Little hint, you may want to subscribe to us on YouTube because there may be a surprise review up on Wednesday. For you guys, so definitely check that out, or maybe earlier. I don't know. I haven't decided when it will go up, but go subscribe to us on YouTube at Friends and Film. You can just find us on there, and you can find us on Twitter and Facebook and everything, like I said before, by searching that as well. But if you liked this episode, you didn't like it, you liked the movie, you didn't like the movie, whatever you want to say, you can tell us anything by tweeting us at Friends and Film, where you'll receive updates on the podcast, movie news, and more. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Coops_Hoops on Twitter. And for all my Marvel-related thoughts and writings at Cooper MCUEX.
And if you want to stay connected with me, Josh, you can follow me at Straley Strong on Twitter.
Yes. So if you're on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, please subscribe, like, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, strangers, whoever. Just tell people about us. And if you want to be very kind to the podcast, you should head over to iTunes specifically and give us a 5-star review. So that when people see our podcast, it has a little nice 5-star right next to it. And people are like, oh, okay, this is a good podcast. I should check it out. And then more people will look at us. So that'd be great. Go subscribe to us on YouTube because you may get a surprise, or you will get a surprise in the near future, depending on how scheduling goes. And we'll also have our X-Men Apocalypse preview up by Thursday, maybe Wednesday. We'll see how things go. Because it comes out Thursday night, so I want to make sure if we're going to preview it, you guys have time to listen to it before you see the movie. But thanks again for tuning in to the Friends and Film podcast. Josh?
Thanks for stopping by, Internet.
And as always, be sure to watch some new movies before you return next week with a review of X-Men Apocalypse.